Hey everyone, this is Burton Langell, Teacher Burt. How to speak fluently like a CEO in English. So I'm here to answer all your questions today. I'm here to help you. I hope you will comment. How about introducing yourself? One thing about doing it on StreamYard is you don't see how many people are here. And there's a little delay. So you'll notice sometimes I might ask a question and then I'll miss your comment or whatever. And yeah, so how is everybody? Can you hear me all right? Am I coming through nice and loud? Loud and clear, not too loud. And where are you coming from? Let me know. So the first question is, please give me a yes or no if you can hear me. I hope there are some people here who will comment and speak to me because it makes it a lot more fun when we have interaction. And I imagine there are a number of people here. And let's, first I'm going to go through the questions that are on my questionnaire that I send to people. Can you see this okay? Give me a yes or a no. So, how confident do you feel when you're speaking English in a professional setting? Do you feel very confident, somewhat confident, not very confident, not confident at all? Does anybody want to answer this? Why do you think people don't feel confident speaking English? Most of my students are B2, upper intermediate, C1. They're able to communicate complex ideas, give clear direction, understand people pretty well. They have a good deal of vocabulary. They know their grammar. There's just most of them have been working for a while. Many of them are working in English jobs. But quite often they get complaints from their bosses that they're not speaking enough in meetings. They're not joining in with the team because they're nervous about speaking. That lack of confidence seems to be the most common problem. What are your ideas on this? What advice do you have for people? Waiting for some people to pop in here and tell me what they think. Okay, so no response on that. I'll go to the next question. What aspect of using English in the workplace concerns you the most? And actually, I'll put this questionnaire up in in the chat here so people can anybody, there's a link here. You can actually turn around and do this. What do you find difficult? Do you find speaking in meetings, being understood, understanding other people, using formal professional language, expressing ideas clearly? Any comments? I'm doing all the talking here. I'd like to hear from you. I didn't even get a yes or no if you could hear me. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me double check and make sure my audio is on the right channel. Good. My camera's on the right channel. Good. Yeah. All right. Most people would say understanding others or being understood, but then expressing ideas clearly. Sometimes we talk too much. Hi, Jose. Good to see you. Jose. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming. Especially out there sometimes, especially people with certain accents. Yes. I was listening to a lady from England the other day and finding her so difficult to understand. It's amazing. She was speaking quickly, really fast, and had a different kind of British accent. So difficult. So it's difficult for the natives also. How about this one? Do you feel more comfortable writing in English or speaking in English? Writing, speaking, equally, both equally comfortable. Neither is comfortable. Now, Jose, I know you're a very good speaker. You are very skilled in English. Anybody else have some comments here? You notice I pause when I ask a question. It makes people feel like they should answer. What are your thoughts? Rate your ability to follow and contribute to a business meeting conducted in English. Are you always able to follow and contribute? Usually able to follow and contribute, right? Writing is easier. You can make use of several tools to help you. Yes, ChatGPT 4. Oh, these things are it's just absolutely incredible, aren't they? They might make my life so much easier. Yeah, and Grammarly is good too. So sometimes struggle to follow and contribute, or often struggle to follow and contribute. Sometimes people don't listen in a contextual way. They're trying to follow word by word by word. Some people are actually still translating from their English to their native language, which is really difficult. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, I know your English skills are very good. A lot of people are very good in their English, and sometimes it's just the little nuances. It's the cultural differences. Somebody in Brazil you work with people differently than how we work with them in the US or Canada, where I am. I'm in Canada. How about this one? What type of English language support do you feel would benefit you the most? Vocabulary development, grammar improvement, pronunciation and accent training, cultural communication nuances. Now, I should have put one, make me confident. That's the main problem people have. And if I could give you an injectable drug to do that, that would be great. But life doesn't work that way, does it? Maybe, and it's not a healthy thing to do, but sometimes when people have a drink or two, they become pretty communicative, maybe not in a good way, but it removes that fear factor that people have, right? It's our emotional minds are always speaking to us, making us nervous in interviews or whatever, always telling us we can't do something or we're an imposter. Vocabulary development. Okay, that kind of surprised me. I believe you have very good vocabulary. Now, recently, a lot of people have been mentioning cultural communication nuances because there is quite a difference between Latin and North America, or the English part of North America. Describe a recent situation at work where you faced a challenge due to language barriers. Anybody else have any ideas here? I usually get some comments. A meeting, I wanted to speak, but I was lost for words. I didn't know what to say. I felt intimidated. I'm afraid to give my own opinion because I might make a mistake. All kinds of stuff like this. This is all the emotional mind speaking to us, telling us we can't do it, right? Sometimes it's real, but we can fix that. I find a lot of my students are excellent English speakers, and yet they're so afraid to use their English. They just want to stay safe. But staying safe is a sure plan to fail, isn't it? Which of the following do you find most challenging when communicating in English? Participating in group discussions, giving presentations, writing emails and reports, understanding idioms and expressions, networking and small talk. Who else is here? Let's hear your ideas. I'm here for you. What would you say to this, Jose? There's always a delay on LinkedIn. So when I ask a question, it's 15 seconds before I see the response. And what's the next question we have? Understanding idioms and expressions. Yeah, phrasal verbs, idioms, expressions, lingo, jargon. Well, jargon's not. I find all the IT people like yourself know the jargon pretty well. But it's just the slang. And it's always developing. There's always new language coming out. But doesn't really matter as long as people use good, clear English. And when natives and foreign English speakers really should focus on good, clear, standard English, being clear, just expressing our ideas as well as we can, getting the body language. The most important thing, too, is listening really well, asking for clarification, having those tools to quickly, politely, professionally ask somebody to clarify a message that they've given. And then making sure that we understand the situation that takes us to the problem and understand the implications, which leads us to taking action. If we don't see there's an implication to something, we're kind of wasting our time. And then taking action, coming up with the plans to make things change, cause change. How do you usually prepare for an important conversation or meeting in English? I know a lot of my clients spend a lot of time preparing for presentations and meetings, overthinking, trying to figure out the answer to every single question that conceivably could be asked. Some people write out their whole presentation, which is terrible. I find just having the points is all we really need. Authenticity is so important, isn't it? Be the real person. Let them see the real you. You're pretty special, so let them see it. How often do you ask for clarification? Always, often, sometimes, rarely, never. I do a lot of research about topics to be discussed and try to prepare a summary of points about the topics. Excellent. Yeah. Very professional. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to go into the meeting being prepared for it. Check the minutes from the previous meetings. Do the readings on reading the reports. Excellent. Do you ask for clarification or repetitions in conversations, which is good? It's not bad, right? You could say something like, what you're saying is really important, and I fully want to comprehend what you're telling us. Can you elaborate on your last point there, please? Something like this, professional, polite, and often people aren't very coherent. Natives, people they say something assuming that we know all about what they're referring to. And we don't want to say, hey, that doesn't make any sense at all. What are you talking about? We don't say that, do we? That'd be about as rude as you could get. So it sounds very interesting, but I'm not quite following you. Could you paraphrase that? Could you elaborate? Could you speak more to that point, please? Use different words. Get clear. Yeah. What is the primary goal in improving your business English? What is your primary goal in improving your business English? Jose, what would you say to that? You're the person. Usually, I'll look at these sessions, there'll be 20 people, and there'll be one person that keeps me company, that comments and everything. And it's good to learn more. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Now, let's go to the little presentation I made up for today. How to speak English fluently like a CEO. Great. Jose, we've got to meet some this week. Come on Saturday, buddy. Primary goal is to get ready to land an international job position. Well, let's work on that. How to speak English fluently like a CEO. What are your ideas, Jose? You've been around the mill. You've been here. What are your recommendations to the audience? Well, practice regularly, of course. Make a habit. This is one of the best books ever, all right? Atomic Habits. Make a good habit. Build a habit. Break your bad habits, create the good habits. Small changes bring remarkable results. Practice, practice, and practice. Yeah. Do. It's all about doing. I find people want to learn passively. They want to watch videos. They want to work on grammar books. They want to take courses. All those things, sit back and watch it. Look, I'm guilty of the same thing. But if there's one thing that's 4% that gives you 64% of the results, or the 20-80 rule, it is the doing. Take your phone out, record yourself. Listen to yourself. People don't want to listen to themselves, but listen, assess your English, fix the pronunciation, fix the grammar, make the ideas more coherent, add some vocabulary, make some notes, do it one more time for 2 minutes, record yourself. That's the day. Do that. That brings incredible results. Read aloud. Speak to people in English in every opportunity that presents itself. Every time you can, speak. But follow the system, right? I'm always talking about this spin. Spin. Ask the questions. So what's the situation? What is the problem? Situation leads us to the true problem. What are the implications of not taking action or taking action? And what needs to be done? And I just recently read a great book. Jose, I haven't mentioned this to you before. This is an incredible book on coaching. And this is for managers, practitioners, everybody. Say less, ask more, and change the way you manage forever. This is the greatest book. It's called The Coaching Habit, How to Lead People. It's just incredible. Michael Stanier. I really enjoyed this book. It's a small book, but there's so much wisdom in this book. So practice regularly. Every opportunity. Take those opportunities to speak, but listen, get clarification, put your ideas together, speak. And when I say putting your ideas together, I'm not talking about thinking about the English you're going to say. I'm talking about your ideas. You need to get away from thinking about our English to thinking about the problems, the situation, and that. And trust your English, okay? Once you've made it to B2 to C1, you really have the English to present yourself well. Even a upper B1, upper, lower, intermediate, middle, intermediate, advanced intermediate speaker can do all these things. But people don't trust their English enough. And if you make a mistake and it doesn't affect people's understanding of you, keep on going, okay? Don't stop. It just messes you up. So keep on going. Prepare well. Prepare thoroughly. Okay? Prepare well. We have to get our stuff together, get our ducks in a line, get our ducks in a row, we say. All right? It comes from duck hunting. You shoot the last duck, the second last, the third last. I wouldn't shoot the poor ducks myself, but some people like to shoot ducks. Yeah, have the highlights, have the notes, have a plan, be ready. Have the source material, have the proof if you have proof, statistical stuff, proof. Show them the benefits of taking action, the features that lead to the benefits, the claims that have. We make a claim, we need proof, don't we? We need to pick ourselves up. We need to look after our mind, our mental state. We have to tell ourselves that we are good, that we are humans, that we are making progress. And forget about all that noise, all that emotional stuff that's saying, oh, to be afraid, you are less, you are imposter, or some silly stuff. We are our worst enemies. We need to pick ourselves up and do what we need to do to be successful. That's it. We need to look after ourselves. And remember, we are the boss of our mind. It is our mind. We need to control our thought processes. So be assertive with yourself. Take yourself to where you need to be. How about this? And Jose, jump in there if you could even join me here if you'd like to. How would that be? Invite somebody. So I am putting a link up here. Anybody that wants to jump in can jump in. It'd be nice to have some company. Yeah. So focus on communication, not perfection. Focus on the message, okay? Focus on the message. You listen well. You have a framework you use. So you're thinking, if I like the situation, the problem, the implications, what needs to be done. Very logical. Getting agreement at each step of the way. And cooperating. We change. We gather information. We gather opinions. We argue. Not a violent argument, but a logic. We make perfect decisions. Well, not perfect sometimes. Often in business, I find the problem is people don't ask the right questions. People go off thinking, oh, they all agree, oh, this is going to be so great, we'll do this. But they didn't ask the right questions and do the right research. And then they find out, people need it, but they can't pay for it or something, some kind of problem like that with software or whatever. Focus on communication, not perfection, not perfecting your communication, but having it good. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Have a point-by-point plan. Do you agree with this? I think, Jose, you would agree with this, wouldn't you? Yeah. And you notice I'm not very polished today. It's just the ordinary Teacher Burt you get here. It's not all orchestrated or anything. It's just me on camera. But I'm pretty happy with how things go. So stay in the now and treat people as if they were your friends. How about this? Treat people as if they're your friends. See them as if they're sitting in your living room on the sofa across from you, and you are having an interesting discussion, and you are corroborating, you are evaluating, you are sometimes disagreeing, but you are disagreeing in an understandable way. You're not insulting them, you're not belittling them. You are live viewers. Teacher Burt. Yeah. Connection is unstable. Yeah, I shouldn't be on Wi-Fi. But sometimes I lose my Cat 6. Yeah, be in the now. Yeah. Now I asked Jose to come. Yeah. Okay, so stay in the now. How do you get in the now? How do you get in the present? How do you forget about all the insecurities that we have, all the pressures that we have on the background? Go for an interview and you need to be in the now. You need to forget how much you need that particular job. You just need to be connected with the people you're meeting with. How do you get there? How do you forget all that pressure? Do you have any advice for us there, Jose? You put some really good videos up in our community about doing job interviews. What's your advice? To be in the now, to get over the pressures, the anxiety that follows us. What would you say to people? When we're not in the present, we can miss things. We can miss those valuable points about ourselves that we want to communicate to them. When they ask us, well, tell me more about yourself. We need to be so in the present and so connected with these people. So we remember to tell them the points that has made your experience so valuable to your previous company or whatever. And your philosophy of management, if you're looking for a management job, and why it makes a difference, how you like to manage, how you follow, how you ask questions, how you coach people, how you motivate them. So you need to be in the now to get all the other garbage out. Sometimes I like to meditate a little bit. I'll just sit at my desk before a meeting or something. I'll close my eyes. I like to think of a candle burning. I don't let any ideas come in. Now, Warren Buffett, he has his thinking time every day. And live viewers. So he focuses on a problem every day. And that's only that problem. And he closes his eyes and thinks about it. And I think he spends 45 minutes every day on his thinking time. And I believe Bill Gates does something the same. And Bill Gates takes 2 weeks a year to go and think about a problem and read. Seek feedback. Get feedback from people, positive and negative. We are continually trying to improve. How do you get feedback? Do you ask people for feedback? What do you do? Continual improvement. And we shouldn't consider feedback negative, right? Somebody's trying to help us, somebody giving us a gentle tip. We don't like unsolicited advice, but we can ask for it. See it as an enjoyable experience. Most people don't really like public speaking a lot. I agree with you. I think we should ask for it. Yes. We should always be trying to improve. Doesn't matter. I'm 71 years old and I'm still trying to improve. Trying to be better, trying to be healthier, trying to be a little wiser, trying to make better decisions, trying to be a kinder person. So always trying to enjoy the experience. What I find about these live sessions is it's just not interactive enough. I like to do the Zoom meetings better. But c'est la vie, it's the way it is. And I guess if I planned better, I would have asked Jose to join me in this meeting. I might have to press him a little bit to do it. But wise person here. So see it as an enjoyable experience. It's a learning experience for us, isn't it? Focus on clear pronunciation and intonation. You wouldn't believe the number of people I meet who are at they say they're at C1 level, advanced English speaker, but they're still following into phonetics of their first language, and people aren't always understanding them well. And if there's one thing that people need to drill themselves on, is good, clear English. Okay, good, clear speaking, good, clear. I can't see how to do it. The minimal pairs, which we've done, practice those quite often. Practice the tongue twisters. Send me the videos. Read aloud. Listen to yourself. Usually when people read aloud, their pronunciation is very good. And when we're reading aloud, we are actually hearing ourselves say those words well. And it's repetition. It really is repetition, getting those TH sounds, or the EA for the Brazilian speakers, sheet instead of shit. Bad word, Burt. Anyway, we need to practice. It's the only way. It's almost like the Army teaching us to march and do drill. We need to just do it. And the reason they did drill was in the old days when they'd have all these soldiers line up and they'd march into battle, and cannonballs were flying and little shots were flying around them, and people were falling. Instead of turning around and running, they were drilled so well that they kept going into that line of fire. Crazy, isn't it, that people would do that? And they would be falling. They'd be falling. And some officer, thinking he's so good on a white horse with the sword out. But the only reason they would do it was because they were all there for each other. And yeah. Pardon me. Intonation is very important also. The rhythm of the language is very important. English speakers, or Brazilian, Portuguese, or Spanish speakers, everybody, your brain is trained to listen to a certain rhythm in your language. It's the music of your language. And we need that. If we don't hear that rhythm, we don't understand the person well. So we need to get that down. Intonation. And what I usually do, I have 18 sentences with the syllables underlined to emphasize in the words. And we just drill those in and just drill them. And when we do that exercise, people always sound like native English speakers. It's quite amazing. Intonation is probably the best thing that you can work on. I've seen it hundreds of times. And I probably should start every meeting with tongue twisters, minimal pairs, and intonation. As boring as anything, but it's one of those things that's in the 4% that leads to the 64%. If you are precise in your pronunciation, people are going to understand you. And if you have intonation, they'll think you're probably a native speaker. So this is what makes a big difference. Everybody wants to work on this hard stuff. They want to memorize conjugations and everything, and conditional, mixed conditionals, and crazy stuff like that. Forget it. Just because we did this is what happened, right? Simple word, because. You don't have to use mixed conditionals or that. One of my students, she just did her IELTS and she tried to use a mixed conditional in the speaking portion, and she thinks it kind of hurt her score because she didn't really know how to do it. You don't want to try this complex stuff in complicated situations, stressful situations. So good, clear pronunciation and intonation wins the game every time. Ask questions to the audience and don't speak after you ask the question. Do you agree with this? Listening to people, asking questions. When you ask a question, stop speaking. Sometimes when you're presenting and you're not expecting to have people speak, still ask a question, wait a moment. So you don't wait too long because you don't really mean for them to answer the question. But what you want is for them to think about the question. You want to bring them into the discussion. They'll be kind of wondering, well, are you going to point to them and ask them what they think? So this is going to get them involved. Or when you make an important point, pause. Pause. Very, very important. Very good communication technique. Asking questions. Questions are the best hooks in a presentation. Keep people involved. Keep them on their toes, we say. So always be thinking, how can I hook the audience in? How can I pull them in? Just like I was saying, I already covered this, right? Use pauses to make the audience think. Don't let them go to sleep. Don't let them sit there and put their head down. Make sure in the first place that they should be in the meeting, that it's important for them to be in the meeting. Second thing, make sure the meeting is important. It's not just something that can be emailed out, right? So make the audience think. Have your questions lined up. Just like my scorecard there. I learned so much from the scorecard, the way people answer the questions. There's a few questions there that kind of, if they answer this one this way, they should have answered the other one the same way. We need those. It's like the 16 personalities, if you've done that test. What's it? The Briggs test. Use your tone. Right? We have tone in our voice. Your tone can resonate with the audience, right? Use your body language, use your hands, show that you're passionate, show that you're actively involved, that you're in the present. Use those hands, get your eye contact on the camera when you're speaking. Of course, I'm going from two monitors, which kind of messes it. Yeah. I had somebody in my live a little, hello, Sinew. Thanks for coming. Have you been here for a little while? Tell us about your English. And meet Jose, a friend of mine. He's in Brazil. Sinew, where are you located? Great, great. I hope this is helpful. I'm sorry, I'm just doing most of the talking here. Uh, we had more people involved today. Usually, what happens is most of the people watch these after the event. It's during working hours. I understand most people. I'm not good at English. Well, you can be good at English, and it's just a little practice. And remember, it's the doing. If you want to speak good English, you need to speak. If you want to understand people, you really need to listen. If you want to be good at writing, well, then you can use ChatGPT and Grammarly. But yeah, practice writing. It's all in the doing, isn't it? You want to be good at reading, we read. Uh, it's quite simple, isn't it? So use your body, use your tone, use your body language. Here's the test score, the scorecard I mentioned. Take a screenshot of it if you want. And you can do this, and gives us a lot of information about your challenges. And then I usually do a personalized report to anybody that does the scorecard. And it's only 10 questions. It doesn't take long to do, but it kind of brings us down the path of understanding what we need. So, does anybody have any comments before I finish today? We haven't got that many people here, so there hasn't been a lot of questions. What are your major concerns in English? What do you find most challenging? Speaking. That's what most people say. And what do you do to improve your speaking abilities? Do you get to practice with English speakers? Do you find opportunities to speak? Do you ever record yourself speaking? Perhaps shadow another English speaker, so you take a recording of somebody speaking English and you copy them and see how closely you can copy them. This works very well. We call it shadowing. Different reading aloud is helpful, but probably the best is take your phone out, speaking about something for a couple minutes, self-assessing what you said, and then do it again, do it a little better. This will work really well. And just be consistent doing it over and over again. So just you speak for 2 times. One, you speak, 2, you self-assess, 3, you speak again with some improvements. That works really well. So that finishes my presentation. If there are no further questions, I am going to close the presentation. I really appreciate everybody attending. I hope you get value from it, and I hope to see you again. So, great. Have a fantastic day. Well, speaking to somebody, I don't get a word in my mind and I get stuck. Pardon me. Yeah. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. Thank you, Jose. I really appreciate it as always. So shouldn't you listen to people very carefully? You don't have to react like this, okay? That's the mistake people make. Put your ideas together and just as concisely as you can. Remember, people really don't want to listen to us speak. They want to speak. Most people want to speak. Most people are thinking about what they're going to be saying while you're speaking. So just take your time, listen well, ask for clarification if you're not quite sure what their meaning is. Maybe they're not expressing themselves clearly. Listen to them clearly. I've heard you. I hear what you're saying. However, I have concerns about this. So just let them know. Usually when companies get complaints, what people say is, they didn't listen to me. I called their customer service and they didn't listen to me. I tried to tell them, but they weren't listening. We need to be great listeners, great problem solvers, and great communicators. And communicating isn't necessarily having perfect English. It's answering people's questions and problems and solving issues. Remember this. You don't need to be a C1 English speaker to do this. We just need to understand, ask questions to get the right data that we need to solve their problem, and then get out there and do it. Help people. It's all about helping people, isn't it? Solving their problems. That's what makes us valuable to people. So if there's no other comments, I thank you for coming, and I will end the session now. Have a great day and a great weekend too, since today's Thursday and tomorrow is TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday, and then we're off to our weekend. See you later. Bye now.